Couldn't find the camera. How can you not find? Oh boy. Here we go again with those internets. Hold on. Oh boy. All right, let's get to it today. Why does it seem so dark in here today? Where's this? Get rid of this. Come on, Boomer, get it together. Okay. All right. Perfect. All right, cool. Let's go through a couple things that are going on out there. SMCI, I'm going to go through a couple names first because I know I'm going to be asked about them. SMCI, like if you want to play this, I think it's great. Go for it. Like that's not the best endorsement in the world, but it doesn't matter because everybody's short it, waiting for the zero. So all they did was like just squeeze the living heck out of them. You usually get 2-3 days of this, and then you find out if it's real. There's usually, this is day 2. So you have the people that are short, right? The hopers and the dreamers, like they're hoping that it's going to fix itself overnight. We all know how that goes, right? You're in mom's basement eating Hot Pockets. So once they're done and they're wiped out, then you kind of get a sense of where you're really at. And I think you're getting there. My head's cut off. It's very unattractive. There we go. Yay. So you're going to want to watch this, I think, if you're playing it. I'm on the short side. I've been trading it. Like I have puts, and I'll just trade it long to pay for the puts. But I don't see how, for the life of me, that anyone that can be like, oh, it's all fixed because this one guy that's on the board of directors said so. And I would read the full statement in great detail if you think this is fixed. I'll leave it at that. But far from it, in my opinion. So I don't know why they can't hire an outside auditing company. Well, I know why they can't hire an outside auditing company to audit them. Like, it's absolutely absurd. And it's just a matter of time to me before something else like drops here. They need to like revamp everything. And the other thing is you don't really fire your CFO if everything's great, do you? Like everything's fine. The CFO did a good job. We couldn't find anything wrong, so we fired him. Oh, okay. Or quote, he got to leave. Okay. You know, it just doesn't really work that way. So there's something there. We'll figure out what it is later. But technically, you can just look at those levels, you know, 39.75, 42, and you can kind of see that from here. Other things that you guys are definitely going to ask me about, hands down, is going to be Bitcoin. So let's just get to it. So one of the things that I noticed with Bitcoin is that you've broken here the other day, and you broke the 12, and you're sitting right at the 22, which is 93.7. If you break the 22, I use a 12, a 22, and a 55. You should use what you're comfortable with. If I break that, I have issues. I've got real issues. Then you're going to like retest the low of the end of that doji and go from there. What you would hope if you break the 22 is that this is your control bar, and you can see that this bar has been in control of all of this, right? So when this bar is here and it sets the tone, you can see it. And what you want to do is just make sure what? You just want to make sure that you hold the low of that bar, which would be 92.6. And if you don't, you're going to 90. Do I think you're going to go through some big, great roll? I don't think so, because I think there's too many players. But I do think you have to go back and look at history a little bit and understand that this was, you know, Thanksgiving 21 when they got grandma to buy Bitcoin. Back here was 3 years ago, 4 years before that one when they got grandma to buy Bitcoin again. Both of these ended with grandma losing like 80% of her net worth in Bitcoin. and little Jimmy not being able to go to Thanksgiving dinner for about 3 to 4 years, right? So here we are again, grandma, buy Bitcoin. This time it's different. Look, guys, all it's going to take is one mean tweet that, well, we're going to buy Bitcoin for the reserve, but it's too expensive right now. Maybe we'll do it in a year. And then all of a sudden this thing gets hammered. One mean tweet and you're hammered. That's the game right now. So that's why volatility is so high, but the VIX doesn't even care. So just keep that in mind. What else do I have that I think's of interest here or worth paying attention to? Let me just go through a couple things here and see what I got going on. That I think's important. That didn't really work yet. Anyway, see if this is going to work or it's not going to work. All right. So that's one thing that I would definitely pay attention to. It's one thing that I think is very important. And then we can get into the names and then we can kind of go from there. If we take a look at Mstr, which you guys will ask me about, you're probably going to open down about $8 or something. If you break 71, it's toast. So I'll just show you this and then you can kind of go from there. If you're in the community, I'm short. So you see this right here, and I'll show you this. And I did this on Saturday as well. See that level right there? So that's peak VWAP, bonk, 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 right? So you can see that. Let's see if this works today. This stay in lock all drawings. No, I'm going to stay in drawing mode. Is that going to stay in drawing mode? Is that what that's going to do? Oh, that's it. Stay in drawing mode. Let's see if it does this. So what you're looking for here is every single time that you're touching this area, right? Like that's where your optimal short is, right? And that works until you're good. And then what you're seeing is this little area here, well, this is where you were buying, right? Until it wasn't going to work anymore. And then what you're seeing is you're seeing lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and now you're seeing that break, right? So you can all see that where you're just getting these lower highs over and over and over again, and now you're breaking down. That actually worked well this time. 371, if I drop here to the hourly, this is what you're going to see, and that's that level 371. So you had a VWAP pinch here. You no longer have a VWAP pinch. You're breaking. So where can this get to? Very easily, like my target would be like 340, like that 338 level, the low where that VWAP started. If I cleaned all this off for a second and just did the simplest of things where I would just drop a volume profile on this spot and just say, hey, what's going on? What's the haps? You would see that you have no point of control any longer, that you've now lost it, which is 390 from that peak. And you are now below the value low. And for those that like the value low plays, once you break the value low, you're usually going lower. You have no volume over here. You have no reason that you can't get to 354 like fast, like really fast. So you're going to want to keep that in mind, okay? Let's get to the indexes and then we'll go from there. Please like this. It helps me greatly with the algorithm, and I purposely do not run ads. So not adding a tremendous amount of value, saying looks like we're going higher. So I'm not going to waste everybody's time. What we'll do is we'll draw into this on a 5 minute. And what I like to do with like 5, or even if you go 15, is you just look at these and you go like 15 minutes, 15 days, 30 minutes, 30 days, right? But let's just look at this for a second and go, all right, well, what do we have? And what we'll do is we will stay in drawing mode here and just look at these levels and go, okay, well, that's not really rocket science, right? What I would argue is that, and what I don't think a lot of people are getting, is that 6,000 is now the floor. So any pullbacks to 6,000, you're going to want to look at being long. You're not going to want to be out any longer. All you're seeing is buying and buying and buying coming in the market, and I don't see any reason for that to change at all. None. So keep that, that's kind of where my head is. But if I drop this to a 5 minute, what do you have? I mean, what do you really have? You have this level up here. I can drop that down a little bit, but we're splitting hairs. So you have that level here. Okay. This is where we broke out, retested, right? Okay. And this is where support is. There's not really a lot to say here, is there? Like it's not really, I'm not really adding a tremendous amount by pointing and going, look, we're going higher. Like I really don't want to waste everyone's time on it. So I'm just going to move on unless somebody, you know, if you have questions on it, ask. I will try to take, oh boy, it got a little aggressive there. I will try to take more questions today. Come on, work with me, not against me. Don't embarrass me. And then we'll go from there. But I don't know. I mean, it seems like I waste everyone's time. Like, oh, we're building the, like, okay. Like you should be able to get that by now. You know, I don't think it makes a lot of sense for me just to point at something and say, like, this is working. Look at it go higher. So let me skip this out, get that there. And then let's go look at the NQ, and then we'll go from there. So this is playing out. This one's a little more fascinating to me because you've been basing for a period of time, haven't you? Like you just ran up. And did anyone notice the amount of volume off the open versus the end of the day? I thought that was fascinating. Like, do you think institutions are shifting when they're changing their buying patterns so that we can't monitor it the same way we've been monitoring it? I don't know. Sure felt that way the other day. It really did feel that way. What I would say to you is if you break, this is worth our time. If you break, that's a long way down. Okay, so that's a long way down if this breaks. I don't know if it's going to break, if it's not going to break when we start to lose some of these names, but that's a long way down. And it's not something that I would be feeling really groovy about if it broke. So you're going to want to watch this. What I would say is every single break that you had right in here down, it's a lot of space. So you're really looking at what? From here down, you'd be looking at like 80 basis points. So it's a drop. It's not a small thing at all. So I'm just going to grab it like that because if that happens and you fall in, it's a long way down to it. And this would say, okay, which one's at risk? Yeah, this would definitely be at risk. So if it cracks, I think it's more at risk than the others. I'm not saying that you're going to crack, but we'll see. The one thing that's been holding this together has been Bitcoin, and we're going to lose Bitcoin, I think. ZS pulled the flim flam last night. Earnings are fine, everything's fine, everything looks great, and then they come out in the call and they're like, "Oh, by the way, we don't have a CFO anymore," and it just gets hammered. The fact that this is trading up is like the banana in the tailpipe to me. I'd be really, really, really careful buying this. It's a lot of Ridleys in there, I know, but I'd be really careful buying that. All right, so that's where my head is off the open. It was an okay quarter, but like when you unexpectedly have something like that, it's not good. And the way they announced it was like shady, like really shady. So it was not received very well. I'll leave it at that. And so you kind of want to see that. If you go and take a look at the earnings here, we might as well do that here, not the election trade, but the earnings. And we look from last night, you can see the CRDO, which you guys love. I don't know what it even does. Someone's going to tell me. But this crushed. And then last night, look at this after hours. And let me just show you this. And you can see the levels, but you really couldn't get anywhere, man. You really couldn't get it going. So you look here, even like the 15-minute thingy really didn't work. Like it broke out, pulled back. It's still holding. So if you lose 60-60, you have a problem. And we'll go from there. And I think that's important. I want to go through some of these micro trades because I think it's important. What we're seeing this morning. So some of this stuff's not looking great. And this list is absolute garbage. I'm going to start doing my own list again because you're seeing too many of these names. Like Microchip had some issues, and now they're not having those issues this morning. I got to watch this and see how this goes. There was some news out earlier, and they seem to be blowing it off. And I'm not really sure why they're blowing it off so much like it's nothing. But it's interesting. AT&T is really fascinating here. I'm not a huge AT&T fan, even though I have the product. But the divesting and the buyback's really interesting, and I'll tell you why. I do want to put this in the top 10 for me to watch today. And I'll tell you why. Top 10. Yay. the buyback's really interesting. So you can see like these divergences, right, where the earnings are good. But when you're doing stuff like that, you're divesting your business. See, my concern with this trade has always been that dividend's not safe. That's always been my concern with it, is people like poured into this trade. I didn't trust the dividend because you were losing your core business, right? Like the 27 cents, I just didn't trust it. You're going to be able to start trusting it if they're going to keep divesting businesses like this, and people are going to buy the name. And that's exactly what's starting to happen. And this means that you probably can see this continue to push. So this is pretty big news, this buyback. And it's not something that, you know, I would sleep on. I pay attention to it, especially if you're like one of those guys that loves dividend names. This is something that you could see, you know, continue to lift and continue to push. So, you know, go from there, do what you want with that information. You know, world's your oyster. And what else do I really want to go over? I have so much I could go over, but I didn't take a lot of questions yesterday, and I got to make sure that I'm out of here at a reasonable time today to set up. Hey, Mayor. Happy Tuesday. Yeah, I actually like NNE. I actually did get sidetracked here, but I do like the name a lot. What I would do is I always watch the levels here where you have these deals done. So I came in that day long. I was a genius, a smartest man alive. And then obviously they do a secondary, and I'm no longer the smartest man alive. The secondary is done at 24 with 26 warrants. So the warrants are done at 26. So sometimes people will short the stock against the warrant, right? And that's what happens. And then when it goes down, they just back to 26, they'll cover. And that's what happened there. So you have this window in here between 24 and 26. As long as you don't break 24, you're golden. If you break 24, you have an issue. It's that simple. If you break 24, you have an issue. I like it a lot. I just moved on. You know, I've got commitment issues, obviously, but like, I really like the name a lot. I really do. And I think it's going to be a big mover. I really do. I like how it's moving, and I like how it has no revenue. So it's funny. People were worried about like the earnings. Oh, what about earnings? I'm like, wow, it's perfect, man. We don't have any revenue. It's good. It's good stuff. How can you go wrong with no revenue? So it is what it is. But on a serious note, you know, we'll see how it goes. And we'll go from there. All right. What else do we have here that's of interest to me? Yeah, this ZS is starting to get old. What are you doing here? Oh, I'll start picking at this thing. Second here. I've got this short on it. It's going the wrong way. Let's see now where we're going. All right. I do like this. As far as small caps, Mayor, look, if you're just looking for something to buy and leave alone, right? What I would do is this, and because it's you, I'll actually do the work. So, hold on one second. Hold on. So what's going to happen is anything small and mid cap is going to be on fire. These are the top 10 holdings of this. So you go through them like Mara, I wouldn't touch, but you can do your own homework on this and play with it. But what's interesting about this is like, and I showed this last night, like IGV divided by PSCT, right? And then you look at that line when it started last Wednesday, and what's happening, if we drop it to line form on an hourly, we get rid of the pre and the post. So you can see pretty clearly that like they're selling large cap software and they're buying small cap tech, right? You can see that. And so like if you're in here, like watch this. But wait, there's more. But you can even see it here with like SOX IGV, right? You can start seeing the turn. So the bottom line is they're looking for other spots. You're asking me where they're going. They're going in the small cap and they're diversifying I would look at these names and I look at the names that are in there to start. You have access to this because you're in the room, but go to the small cap. And I think everyone has access to this. I think I put it out there before. Where is it? Small cap sectors, and just start clicking through them, and you'll see what's leading. Like here, like materials or small cap financials are on fire, right? Like this is where it's going there. Like this is where it's going. It's going into this stuff. So we were fortunate enough to be in like UPST and have a double in it. JP Morgan didn't like that, so they tried to stop it yesterday. But those kinds of names like Affirm, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, those mid-cap kind of names, when they pull back, you're going to want to pay attention to them. So see how that goes. We'll go from there and see how that plays out. Hopefully that's helpful. So this was on my list. I'll show you this one. And then it just kind of got away from me yesterday. But this is definitely something that I would be watching. 100% deck, that move out. Here's the earnings, the pullbacks, the rallies, and then the lift. This is a big name right now institutionally. I'm not sure why, but so is this. And I see it. My thing is like, I have this bar, right? So when I have stuff like this, I just don't even go near these trades. I just avoid them until I figure out what this thing is and what it wants to do when it grows up. What's happening here is you've been battling this area. I don't know who's here. I don't know what they're doing. I do know that I have not gotten out of that. People would say, well, what do you mean? That's the highest close it ever had. Well, you kind of had a higher one, right? But I have this doji here, John, and I am watching this. But do I really want to buy this here? Or do I want to just put an alert up here and just wait until it gets through there? Or do I want to put an alert down here, right? And say, okay, well, I'll buy it on the breakout or the retest of support. But do I really want to be that guy that's like getting chopped up in here? Is this guy over here has got a ton to sell and he's trying to figure out what he's going to do when he grows up? Like, I don't know that I want to be that guy. You know, so I don't know. I'm not really feeling it. I feel like there's too much headspace. It's too much. So I don't know. I am watching that very closely. FSLY. What is hurting me this morning? What is not making me happy? Company's a pig. I mean, maybe it moves because these small caps are moving, but like, I don't know. It's not my favorite. Like, you probably get to 12, but I don't like it. It's just such a mess. So, yeah, deck definitely. The thing is, I need some kind of pullback or something, and I'm probably not going to get it, but you see the volume kicking in. So this got added about 2 weeks ago to Goldman's hedge fund VIP list. And then from there, it's just been lifting ever since. I'm up 14 on that short on the MicroStrategies. I don't think I want to do anything yet, though. It's going to stay with it for now. I like this a lot, man. A lot. Like, these are the kinds of names that they just keep going. When they start this kind of stuff, they can just keep going. Super thin. You just have to catch it. You know, it's like this. You just have to catch this is what you're trying to do. And that might be it. That might be that next move. You've been here for a while. Broke out, pulled back, built, and now you're just lifting. So that very well could go. I do like that. So let's see how this goes. And we'll go from there. What else do we have that's of interest that you brought up that I'd like to go over? WSM Yeah, I always tend to look at these names. I look at the room and see who's talking about things the most. Like we got a bunch of SNTI yesterday. I thought that was fascinating. WSM keeps popping up a lot in these comments today. So you guys might want to watch that because that means retail's usually watching it because we are retail. I do like it. I have trust issues right here. I'll just leave it at that. I mean, maybe the move is, you buy it, and if it takes out that low, you're like, okay, well, it didn't work. You know what I mean? And you lose $5 and you move on with your life. And then you just wait for it to set up again. I mean, maybe that's the way to do it, Jacob. These names I like a lot, and I think they're going to benefit a lot from what's going on. Again, what I don't like about these is the same thing I don't like about yin or any of this stuff. It's just they're trading overnight, and I think you're in Australia, so it's different for you. But do I really want to buy this? Yeah, I mean, I think it's been a home run, right? But I don't like the gap up and gap down. This one, it looks like it's going to be a monster, absolute monster trade. So yeah, and I think there's certain areas over there that are just going to keep going. What is that? EWJ? Is that it? I do. I think there's certain things there that are just going to keep rocking and rolling. I really do. Like one of the things that I look at a lot is, hold on, let me see, like Toyota Motor Corporation, like this. Look at the volume coming in this on Toyota. Look at this. So, yeah, I'm watching this pretty closely. So here, let me show you this. Come on, populate. There you go. See it? See the 200-week moving average? See how you can't break it? See, they're buying it, they're selling it, they're buying it, they're selling it. So usually when this moves, I have a whole thing I do with this where I should find it for you. It's called the monthly list. Monthly, I run these monthly. And it's stuff like this, Jacob, like Baltic Dry Index, what's the euro doing versus the dollar, right? What's Ethereum doing, like that kind of stuff. What is both doing. There's all kinds of stuff. Like what's the IPO market doing? See, like the IPO market's back above here. Like this is a clear sign that we're going higher. I probably should talk about this later. I really should talk about this later because this is actually really big that this is happening. You haven't broken back above that since you broke here 2 years ago. It's actually a pretty big deal that you're doing this in here. But here it is, Nikkei divided by Toyota. So here it is. So I look at this a lot. And what you're seeing is like you're getting to extremes, right? So like these extremes, you see like these extremes, because it's a relative performance. So, I do think that I do think that Toyota can outperform. And if Toyota is going to outperform in financing, right? So it goes back to the banks. So I do like that. Crocs. You guys maybe buy a pair of Crocs. I don't know. I don't like these kinds of charts. It's all broken, busted. I don't know. From Cape Breton Island. Good morning. Morning from Miami. Yeah, I'm looking at that. I'm going to just be blunt. I am looking at that. I'm looking at it from a different perspective. I did look at this. I'll just be candid since you brought it up. I do. I think there's different ways to play it. Do I think you want to play options? I think that what you need to do when you're playing options right now, to be completely candid, is ask yourself, do you even know, please, I don't know you, so take this with a grain of salt. Do you even know what you're doing? And this is why I'm saying it that way. The historical volatility versus the implied volatility of options right now is completely insane. So people are buying options and they can't figure out why their trades aren't working. And it's because they, don't have now my head's cut off. It's because is it cut off? No, there you go. I'm good. Man, I have issues. So what you want to see is you want to look at the historical volatility versus the implied volatility. Now we're killing it in that MSTR short up 20. So I think the way to think about it is this. You want to look at the historical volatility and you want to look at the implied volatility. If you don't have access to that, there's a site, I have no affiliation with it. It's called Market Chameleon. Just go there. Someone else might have a free site, but Market Chameleon does a great job of showing you relative, right? And I would go and look at that. I don't know that options are the best thing here, is where my head is. And if I was going to do options, I would do them in the money, and I would do them going into 25. I'd probably do them 120 days out so that I'm not worried about the time value, is where my head is with this. Because the time value is going to be your issue. That's where the rub's going to come in, the time value. All right. We'll go from there. What do you want? Oh, 855. Thank you, John. Oh, South Korea president declares martial law. Oh, that what could go wrong? Crazy timing, right? Yoon says through martial law, he will rebuild free and democratic country. Nothing says free and democratic like declaring martial law, right? Okay. I will not talk politics. I will not talk politics. I will not talk politics. But I would go 120 days out, and that's how I would look at it, and go from there. All right. Hopefully that's helpful, brother. Cool bike. Maybe even a debit spread to pay it down. I really should start taking more questions. I might start doing that live questions. I see all this stuff. So in all this way, the past few days, grabbing liquidity on Mstr. They're not grabbing liquidity. They're killing it. We're killing it on that trade. What do you mean grabbing liquidity? They're getting out. Stay in the trade, boomer. Talking to myself. Happy Tuesday. What's up, Lise? Good morning from Miami. You're coming in late today, 7:44. Someone slept in. Good morning from New York. Good morning from Miami. BA. You know what, dude? I had a trade here, and I literally probably am the reason why Boeing bottomed, because I've been watching this 55 to short against it. Then it went over. Just make sure it stays over that 55, man. If you break that 55 below, I'm just going to short the heck out of it again. With Trump coming in, what I would say is this. What is making me funny here? Hold on one second. Something's killing it for me. Oh, it's I've got more of that than I thought. What time is it? All right, I'm going to have to do something. Bear with me. So if I look at Boeing, and the question really becomes, what is Trump going to do? Is Trump going to let this company, great American company, stay down? Or is he going to rebuild the greatest economy ever? He's going to build the greatest economy of all time, right? I mean, we know what we're dealing with. Love him or hate him, you know what's coming. We saw it with X today. And that's what always fascinated me, that X traded up on this. But so I don't know, man. Here's my thought. My trade did not work, right? Obviously. I would make sure you're above the 55. And if you are and you're long, stay long and strong. You break the 55, and God willing, no more stuff happens. Reddit, I like a lot, but I'm going to just leave it at this. And then I'm going to just run through these super quick, because I'm going to have to jump here, because I have a lot on, and there's a lot going on here right now. Give me a second here. Give me a second, guys. Boo. Yay. Boo. I think I'm going to regret that. Give me a second, guys. Sorry. Where were we? What were we doing? Yeah, I'm going to regret closing some of that short, I think. I told them it was going to break. No one listens to me. Could you imagine not listening to me? Like, what is the purpose? Why would you ever bet against me? It's so stupid. Anyway, I think you're going the 90s where I think we're heading, but you broke your neckline. So we'll say left shoulder, head, right shoulder. It's ugly, but it's there. But you're going a lot lower. I think you're going a lot lower. They're trying to bounce you early, but we'll see. They bounce that 10 in a minute, right? That'll wake you up in the morning, won't it? So many people are short that. All right, what else we got? Okay, let's get back to it. Reddit, what I would say is this. This is what I would say, and then I'm going to have to do a lightning round here and get out and get back to it. You need to be careful with these. I'm going to leave you with this so that you can see what's going on out there, because I don't think people are getting this. So when you started trading these kinds of names, right, and you started back in like November, and then November 5th hit and you have earnings, I don't think people are understanding how the ATR changed. So for those that don't know, when you look at ATR, this is like the average true range of the stock. So if the stock's here, on average, you're going to move like $3, right? After the election, and also on earnings here, but after the election, volatility on these names spiked greatly, okay? And what that's done is that's created an issue. It's created an issue for a lot of people. And where's the issue? They don't understand the volatility's changed. So you're out here buying names with $3 stops, a lot of people are, and you have $8 average daily moves. And you don't understand why it's so volatile. And at the same time, you're not understanding why the VIX is going down. Because this is what the market looks like when you don't have government interference, right? Tech stocks don't go up. And this is where people get baffled. So keep that in mind. It's really pretty big deal. And I don't see a lot of people getting that. So, just FYI. And, we'll go from there. But it's a big deal. And you need to look at your volatility. Like I was explaining this yesterday in the room. So you're hearing some of this again. Like people don't understand that you have an $18, $17 range on Tesla and you're trying to swing trade it and getting stopped out because it moves $8. Of course it's going to move $8. You basically have tripled or doubled your volatility. And I don't think a lot of people are getting that with tech. I'm going to just run through these really quickly. Let's see. Ralph Lauren looks great. AT&T we went over. Not a tank top. Killing me. We could tell you on short. Yeah, I am. Well, I'm not right on. You're talking about SMI, but I'm not right. I'm not right. The space phones. Are they? They're talking about space phones today? They should be. Yeah, I do think that makes so much sense. I don't really get it. This is another one. I'm not getting it. Like they're going to take the gloves off. They're going to take the golden handcuffs off. I'm not getting why it's not doing better. Like I don't understand why we're still 30 points off a book. I got to spend more time on that. Tesla's scaring everybody because people don't understand the ATR. Yeah, it's good. It's good. We're killing it. Nothing to do except win. Scaring the hell out of me. Zebra. Really? Zebra. What time? Oh, ZBRA. Let's get to it. It looks great on a weekly. It looks really good. Yeah, it looks great. Do you have volume? I mean, it looks fantastic. Like very little for me to say here. It looks amazing. Rallies, pulls back, gap fills. Like it looks great. Nothing to say. Like nothing. I don't know why it looks so good or why it's the one that's holding up so well out of some of those software names, but it is, at least. It looks great. Nothing to do. A deal's never going to go through. Not in a million years. Even if it goes through and Biden pushes it through, you're going to have an issue. TM does look like stage one. No, I'm in Miami. Thoughts on XRP flipping? I don't know. It probably goes higher. It was just a day. It'll be over soon. It's better to trade higher. Volatility higher. To trade stocks higher. Always higher. Always higher, Boomer. What is moving here that's giving me angst? I don't understand. Why are you dropping? Oh, you might drop pretty hard today on that news, I guess. That'll be a buying opportunity probably. We'll see what it does. But yeah, that'll come in pretty hard today, I think, on that news. So actually traded it last night, made money off of it, but you're not looking good this morning. That's for sure. Because those calls. All right. Let me get to it. I got to hop in the room. Trade to win today, guys.